Welcome to the Drive-In Agricultural Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Jo Hollabaugh, professional breakaway roper and a member of the Ag Truck Trader Pro Rodeo team. Here at Drive-In Agriculture, we are all things agriculture all the time, and our main priority is doing what's best in the ag space, talking trucks. So strap in and let's go roll some coal. Okay, everybody, welcome back to the Drive-In Agricultural Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Jo Hollabaugh, and I am here today on this Veterans Day, honoring all the veterans who have served, who are currently serving, and are a part of this great country that we serve, America. I mean, what more can you say? And I am here today with the one and only Steele Hunter, who is a veteran of this country, and we're here to talk about all things Veterans Day. So, Steele, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Thank you, Jordan.
And you are a part of our Drive-In Ag community. It's all things certified ag group, Drive-In Agricultural Podcast. You've been on here before, but we're welcoming you back. We always love to talk all things Mil-Spec Liner and the FuelBox. Tell me what's going on in your world today.
We're busy. We're expanding and growing, which is great. Never a dull moment, and in my life at least. I did just get back from Roundup out in Arizona, so I spent 2 weeks out there. So that was nice to be in the back of a saddle for about 10 hours a day for about 8-9 days straight. So, but back to the real world, back to making Mil-Spec Liner, taking care of my dealers and the fuel boxes, and taking care of our people. So.
And that's what it's all about. And that's what we're here today to talk about on
Yes.
this amazing Veterans Day, is taking care of people. So, Steele, tell us a little bit about your background and about your story as a veteran.
Well, it's a pretty simple story. It was back in the 80s. Came out of high school, dropped out of college, needed a challenge in life, and so I joined the Marine Corps. Probably one of the best decisions I ever did. I grew up in a very strict, disciplined household, so it kind of fit very well. Um, but just joined the Marine Corps, served basically for 6 years, and loved every minute of it. I thank every one of you taxpayers for giving us your tax dollars so we could blow stuff up and shoot things and do some fun stuff. I was able to it instilled a lot of neat stuff inside of me, helped the discipline factor. Not that I wasn't disciplined, but it gives you a little bit more, I guess, contents and outside you get to see a little bit more of the world. Got to meet with a lot of different people, work with different from different races, different cultures, different parts of the world. Was really neat and exciting. So I loved my time in the Marine Corps. Um, I did get out of the Marine Corps after 6 years. Some days I look back and wish I'd stayed in for life, but had a wife and kids coming along, and so I needed to make a better living, and so I did that. But I'm very proud to be a Marine. Still am. I'm a little bit older, a little bit slower, but probably still as deadly.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. And how cool. I mean, blowing things up. Who doesn't love to do that?
Amen.
You're talking about earlier, we were talking about no matter which part as a veteran, past, present, future, that you have served for this country, you've made that commitment. You just said it. You had the dedication, you had the discipline, and you learned even more of that. And that's something that you've instilled in your family. You were telling me a little bit earlier, your son is also serving or has served. So tell me a little bit about how does that pass along, like, in your family? I mean, is that something that you got that was true to your heart, or where does that come from?
I believe it's probably that your children watch you and see you, and they see the the patriotism, the honoring of your country, the willingness to give all for your country, the love of your country. That's, unfortunately, it seems like that's kind of been waning in our country, in a lot of different aspects, not so much in the agricultural world, but I just tried to live my life and serve others, help others, defend others in business and in the military. And I'm assuming that my voice picked up on that. And my middle son, Hagen, he served in Afghanistan, Iraq. He's a true combat veteran. And he's back now. He's pretty much healthy, which I'm thank the good Lord for that. But and he's involved with me in some of my businesses as well too. So I don't know that there's anything special that I did. I mean, the Marine Corps. it's a brotherhood. And that's what's the
Mhm.
neatest thing about that is we're Marines for life. Marines like to say once a Marine, always Marine. We don't really like to say retired or former. We're Marines.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just ingrained into our head that we're always what we say what we were trained to be. And
Mhm.
but it's just a wonderful family. All of them are, I mean, I have uncles out in the Army. I have some of my best friends in the Army, Navy, even Air Force. And so it takes all branches. So, I mean, in this Veterans Day, they're all important, even the Coast Guard, the National Guard. They're all men that have decided to be willing to sacrifice, willing to put their life on the line if so called upon to do so. Travis Mills is a staff sergeant from the Army. That's Dakota's brother-in-law, and he's one of 5 surviving quad amputees. And we
Wow.
support that foundation as well up in Maine. And Travis is an outstanding young man. And my uncle was a Vietnam vet, and that messed him up pretty good. But he's done very well. So, in all generations, the military, I think, just instills a love of country, discipline, an honor, a willingness, and a drive to protect those that can't protect themselves. Be willing to sacrifice yourself for what we believe in, this great country of ours.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of a nutshell.
And I don't think, as I'm sitting here listening, I mean, it my my father-in-law, my granddad, they served. They were veterans, but it wasn't talked about a whole lot at the family table, right? It's not something that every one of you guys and men and women, there's so much pride taken in it that it's not like we sit at the dinner table and talk about it. But I wish we would talk more about it because just like your passion for our country and the sacrifice that you've made for those of us who don't have to serve and haven't made that choice, it's incredible. That's why we're sitting here today. And that's why we get to do like we have the freedoms that we have. And that passing that along generation to generation, just listening to you, I'm like, it is so important. Like it's something that we've got to seize and really bring to the forefront and talk more about because it is important and it is how we have our livelihood here in America.
It is. We're the protectors and keepers of the peace, and our freedom. So, yeah, I agree.
Talk about Mil-Spec, FuelBox. I mean, obviously, I know the answer to this question. I just want you to elaborate on it a little bit, but how has your passion for serving, being a veteran, came in and fueled your companies and been a part of your companies to be geared towards serving your country and giving that back?
I guess the Marine Corps taught me not to quit. Never, I can't say my dad probably raised me that way to some degree as well, but the Marine Corps really drove it home. And I think the military does that. It teaches you not to quit, never surrender, never give up, never leave anyone behind. A lot of our credos. And it comes into the real world and work as well too. It doesn't matter whether it's one of my line people that are working, just started, or one of my people that have been with me for 10 years. They're all important. They're all important links of the chain, and you're only as strong as your weakest link. So it's all a unit. We run all of our businesses as a unit. Everybody, they cross train. They understand how to support and have that unity as a unit to work together, pick up for each other when person is, maybe having an issue, looking out for them, watching their back, giving that extra hand. I get out in the plants all the time and work myself. I like it. I want to do that. There's nothing out there that they do that I won't do, and I make
Mhm.
sure they know that. I would say, my from my drill instructors to my COs and everybody else, I had some really great leaders that led us in the military. I was just an NCO, and but as an infantryman, but you got to be a good leader. So the military does teach you leadership, does teach you how to work with people, how to lead men and women. Business is no different than the military, besides the combat portion. But it needs to have structure, it needs to have discipline, needs to have accountability. So many things that our country is maybe doesn't have as much anymore nowadays. I wish that every young man and woman that came out of high school today would have to serve a couple of years in the military. I think we'd be a better country for it. But also at the same time, I think the one beautiful thing about America is we're all voluntary service. Nobody's drafted. I mean, in Vietnam, we had the draft, but as a whole, we all volunteer freely. We give ourselves freely, and I think that's what makes our military as strong and great as it is. But I do think that a little mandatory time wouldn't hurt some of the young people nowadays,
I
and
know we would definitely look more fit, that'd be
we,
great.
pro- we
Have a
probably
little bit
would
more
be.
discipline, make our bed, clean our shoes, go about that way.
Yeah, yeah. I still do 45s on my bed sheets, and when I make my bed, and my I stay at friends' houses. In fact, I was just at my best friend's house, and his wife called me up. She goes, "You make the best bed in the world." I'm like, "Well, it's something that comes from the Marine Corps, and so it's kind of fun. Just the little things that are unique,
Mm.
and so yeah."
Well, and the little things that we commit to each and every day, how they add up over time, and that's what creates change and long-lasting change, and like you said, we do wish that there was more, obviously, of people like you in our country, but again, it only takes one person to make a change and start sowing and reaping into other people's lives, and so we see that a lot, and that's our challenge as people here walking
Mhm.
on this earth and doing what we do. Talk about a moment in the military that really either changed your trajectory or was really special that sticks out to you. If you're like, one thing that I learned and or experienced or encountered while you were serving in the military.
Oh, that's a tough question. One thing. Um, um, I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning.
Okay.
Probably the most impactful thing is when I got off the bus at MCRD in San Diego. Young guy that just came out of college playing football, stepped on those yellow footprints, and reality hits what you've done, what commitment you've made, you know, and and the neat thing is you have to decide at that moment, I'm going to make this happen, I'm going to make it through, I'm going to do make this work, or I'm going to quit.
Mm,
And you learn real quick. I mean, there was weeks there in boot camp, that's like, what the hell am I doing? I want to go home, Mom, but you learn to persevere
mm,
and go through it. That would be one of my best things. I say that just from the very beginning. um, running, I mean, I'm not a combat veteran, so wasn't able to serve in combat when nothing really happened in the 80s when I was in there. But being able to be under live fire, even at training range, some of the mistakes, some of the issues that happened that put us in harm's way, um, really probably drove home the concept of you really need to pay attention to all facets of everything that's going on around you. You need to be able to anticipate mistakes, because people will make mistakes. Um, and we got caught under live fire actually at the live fire range in 29 Palms, California. Scared the living bejesus out of me. I'm trying to use clean words here, and but we were young Marines, and but you realize that how quick and how precious life can go. My son, as you said, most veterans, we don't necessarily talk a lot about things, but I've found out in talking with a lot of my fellow combat veterans, like my son and people that have been over. Amongst ourselves, we talk and share, but it's nothing that we're not necessarily not proud of it, but it's just not, we're not boisterous, and so it's a humbleness. I think the life or death situation will humble you and make you appreciate, and life becomes a whole lot more precious. And I'm having to say that from my point of view, but I know from my son's point of view and from Travis's and other fellow veterans that have been in combat, come back wounded, and so on and so forth. It makes you realize how small of a speck we are in this world, and how fleeting it is. And so cherish every moment, make every moment, and try to create a better place, a safer place, so that your children and your friends and family and fellow countrymen, can prosper, have freedom. I guess that's that's that really kind of went off the topic, a little story, but
no,
that,
it's
that's
great.
that's okay.
No, I love it. It's great, and we need to hear more of it. And I just want to say first and foremost, thank you for talking about it because, like you said, I know there is a complete and elaborate humility amongst all veterans, and just communicating and talking more about it helps to educate us, because we don't know as civilians. We don't know. We see, but we really don't know. And so it really just hits home to my heart. I want to say thank you for talking about it. But following up, kind of wrapping this up here today, my last question to you is, for those of us who are civilians, what are some meaningful ways that we can honor or support veterans on this Veterans Day?
I mean, it's become quite commonplace for everybody to hear that you've prior service and veterans, etc. They say thank you for your service, and that means a lot. It's almost become redundant or just commonplace now. But it's still appreciated. Um, Honor, find a veteran, and take care of them on Veterans Day. Go to the VA and reach out and see if there's some people that, some veterans that are struggling. I try to hire veterans. I look for veterans to hire in our business. We support everything from Tunnels to Towers to Wounded Warriors to Travis Mills Foundation to TAPS, to, even St. Jude's. That's not a veterans deal, but the children.
Mhm.
Um, Try to find a way to give back. You don't have to serve in the military to serve your country.
Mm.
Just get out and make a difference in someone's life. Treat everyone the same way you'd want to be treated. So on this Veterans Day, I'd say just try to go out and find someone, veteran or not, really, just give an act of kindness. Try to just try to show some love and some kindness. Um, Salute for the flag, stand for the flag. Some people have a problem with that. There's one the beautiful thing about our country is they can object and not want to, but at the same time they defend it. I'm trying not to stir things up on political wise, but I do think we need to defend our flag. Don't disgrace our flag. So on Veterans Day, yeah, I try to go to the VA, reach out to the VA, reach out to some fellow veterans, just ask a friend or neighbor. I guarantee there'll be some around, and just tell them thank you. Cook them a pot pie, or I don't know if they make pot pies anymore, the frozen ones. Cook them some cinnamon rolls or some cookies. Do something like that. Try to find a way to just to say a little extra thank you on this Veterans Day. I wish it was a national holiday. Um, in my company, we'd like to shut down on Veterans Day. It should be a full blown holiday, in my opinion.
Yeah.
A lot more important than some of the other ridiculous holidays we have in this country nowadays. But again, I'm trying to stay politically correct. Um, that's again, I ramble a bit, so I apologize. But just try to find an act of kindness. Just tell veterans thank you. Never forget about that. And if you can get out to like some of the associations, like I mentioned, the Tunnels for Towers, Wounded Warriors, give to those. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's much, but it really is. Those are some good foundations. TravisMills.org, Travis Mills Foundation. Highly recommend people look into that and donate $5, $10 a month, or $20 one time, whatever. Just give something, as a thank you. But there's so many organizations in your local communities. I know. Just try not to be so busy that you forget. We all forget because we all get so busy in life. Um,
And I think too, for me, that my biggest takeaways are, try to stay in the present moment and just go out and serve. I love how you said, yes, if there's a VA close to you, or a veteran, or any of the like, which I'm sure if we had more conversations, we know a lot of more veterans than we think we do.
mhm,
But it's just about serving your country. Just take the time, commit, and do an act of kindness or serve somebody. I will probably be buying food because my cooking, it's getting there, but it's still a little iffy. So I wouldn't want to poison anybody. But
yeah.
just serving somebody on a special day and taking the time, I think, means more than anything. So this has been one of the most heartfelt and inspirational podcast that we've done here on Drive and Ag. I just want to say thank you for coming, being a part of the Drive and Ag community, this all things certified ag group. If you guys haven't already, go and check out Mil-Spec Liner and the FuelBox. They are great, great products founded by a great, great server of our country. So, Steele, thank you for your service. Thank you for being a veteran and all the things that you've done and continue to do. And we appreciate you for coming on the Drive and Ag podcast today.
Jordan, thank you very much for having me. You made this very easy. I appreciate it, and God bless.
Yeah. Happy Veterans Day.
Yes, ma'am.